Hi everyone, it's Dr. Dan here, just going for a bit of a walk this morning. I thought on a beautiful autumn morning, and I'd scheduled a walk, and I thought, you know what I could do? I could actually jump in here and do a live broadcast with you all and actually take you on a bit of a walk through my local parkland called Whites Hill Reserve, and it's one of my favourite places to have a bit of a walk. And so a lot of you are not in Australia, so I thought it'd be cool for you to sort of see Australian bushland as we have so local to our local area, and I'm only literally 5 minutes down the road from the studio. And so make sure you let me know where you're from. And g'day Bartek, good to see you, good to have you join in. Make sure you let me know where you're from, and I'm gonna answer your questions as we go for a bit of a walk. And usually it takes me around about 15 minutes to run through this area. G'day David from Colombia, nice to see you. Yeah, make sure you let us know where you're from. And that loud noise, which we'll get away from in a moment, was actually a car driving past Lancer, so hopefully that won't be too bad. So let's go for a walk, and yeah, you'll get to be able to have a look around and see Australian bushland as we Aussies have a lot of it all over the country. So let's go for a bit of a walk, and hopefully you'll I'll just change the camera here so we go. So it really is quite beautiful, and to give us a thumbs up if you like the Australian bushland. This is a little bit of an unusual post, but I do want to answer your questions as we walk along together, and talk with you about singing. Obviously, fitness is a big part of our singing, and gone are the days when we used to. Well, it's the old saying, isn't it? It's not over until the fat lady sings. Now, fat ladies, and this is nothing against people who carry extra weight, but we really in singing encourage, if we want people to sing well, we encourage complete physical fitness now. The rigours of performance, whether you be classical or contemporary, are just too great for people to be unfit. And fitness, as many of you know, doesn't simply come down to whether you're a bigger person or whether you're stick thin. It comes down to your capacity to be aerobically fit and your strength. And so what I try to do is try to exercise at least 2 or 3 times a week, trying to keep up with all that's going on with my YouTube channel, etc., and keep up with the schedule of teaching 40 to 50 students. Actually, it's 50 to 60 students at the moment, every fortnight, and keeping everyone happy, including my family and all those sorts of things. And the only way to do that is to remain nice and fit. So this is probably the number one place that I love to run through. I try to run through here, once a week, but it often doesn't work out to that because I play a game called touch football also. And so we'll just go down here, and I'll show you this little walkway through here, and you can see down into some parkland just there. We had a bit of rain come through. For those of you who don't know, about a couple of weeks ago we had a cyclone come through, not through Brisbane, through certainly about 1,500 kilometres north of Brisbane, a cyclone called Cyclone Debbie, and but as a result we got the ex-cyclone low, and it really pummeled us with a lot of water. So as a result, everything is just so beautifully green, and so why don't you hit me with your questions as we're walking through, and we can talk about a whole range of things. We've got some people coming up here, walking through. Hey, how you doing? Okay, so let's go to some questions, shall we? So let's go here. The noise seems to be from the mic or the wind. The mic or the wind. Is it still noisy, everyone? I hope it isn't. The noise seems to be, does overweight. So this will go to Bartek. Yeah, let me know in the comments section below if you've still got noise, because I am using a crackle. Well, that's no good. Let me that better. I've just pulled out the. I'm using this, but maybe it's because I had the. I didn't take the case off the phone to put it in, and so maybe that's a bit better. Hopefully it's a bit better, everyone. Better. Excellent. Okay. Well, lesson learnt. I need to, in future, take the case off to put the mic in. Problem solved. Woo! Okay, so let's go back to some questions. Does overweight affect singing ability significantly? The question is not actually about being overweight, Bartek. I think it was Bartek that answered the question. I asked the question, wasn't it? Yes, it was. The question is not about being overweight. The question is more about being, just change the camera here. The question's more about the your fitness. How fit are you? And what sort of condition is your body in? How much, what's your stamina like? And you can see, it's been a couple of weeks since I've actually been up here, and already you can hear me starting to puff a bit. And my aerobic fitness for a man of my age is probably not where I'd like it to be. And it was actually at the beginning of the year that I said to my wife, you know, I don't think one workout a week, which for me is my my touch football once a week. I'm in a touch football team, which I really love. But I said to my wife Jodie, I said, I don't think that touch football is cutting it anymore as, you know, just a once off. I really need to do something more, and that's where I started to come up here. We've lived in this local area for 16, 17 years, but I'd never really taken full advantage of what is, I think you'd agree, and just a beautiful spot. And so it comes down to fitness. Got some more people coming up here. Morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Good, thank you.
And so it really comes down to fitness, Bartek. It's not really about your whether you're overweight or not, though more often than not, your weight will reflect your fitness. And so it's about making sure that your fitness is right. Get your fitness right first. You know, get your heart rate working well. Oh, that's actually quite a climb. I don't know whether you could really make that out. And now we're making the biggest ascent of all. I'm going to take you up to a lookout and hopefully show you. Actually, I don't know how much of we can see from the lookout, but hopefully you'll stick around and have a look with me. And so, yeah, Bartek, it's not about your fitness. It's more about it's not about your weight. Tackle your fitness first and your weight will follow typically. Okay. Use it or lose it applies to fitness. I couldn't agree more. And at my age, it is a matter of making sure that I am using it. Okay. What other questions have we got here? Paper Gamer, nice to see you again from Peru. Is it true that thinner bodies tend to have less resonance than big ones? Yes, great question, Paper Gamer, because there has been for a long time, let me switch the camera around so you can see where we're headed. There has been for a long time research done into people's morphologies, the different sizes of different people's weight, and the last I read into it, it actually, can you see how steep this is? Everyone, that's why I'm puffing. Let's have a look. That's where we've come from, and that's where we've got to go to, is up, right up there. We will get there though. The thing about the morphologies is the most recent reading that I did on it was, in fact, morphology, whilst it changed the experience of the person, the singer themselves, you know, if you had a bigger person who suddenly lost a lot of weight, the physical experience for that person of their singing changed. But the perceivable outcome for the audience was actually, the perceivable difference was quite minimal to the point of being negligible. Really not a lot of difference. Trying to take every... No, this is the whole idea, Linda, is that I'm exercising. And so the whole idea is to get my heart rate up. It's just that I've never done it while I'm talking before. I'm usually listening to music while I do it. I don't know if you can see, that's where we're going to head, just up through there. We're going to go up there and see if we can get to the lookout. Now, I've just been told by YouTube I've got a poor connection up here, which is a bit weird given that the height that we've got to. Okay, so hi Tuss, nice to see you. Okay, let's go back to some questions. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the little tour of Australian bush. Of course, where Linda is from, Linda is making the comment there about telling me to take a rest. She's from Tasmania, and the bush would look slightly different to this. I'm about 3,000 kilometres, 3.5, maybe 4,000 kilometres north of where Linda is in Tasmania, and the bush would look quite different. But here in Queensland, this is very typical bushland. Okay, it is very nice here, Kev Tran. So this is, where have we got to? This is Sankey Mountain Summit. It's not 100 metres off the ground, it's 100 metres to the summit. So let's go up here, shall we? Keep pushing on, don't let your human body limit you. There's a lot of things that my human body limits me from doing. And for those of you who've been with my channel for long enough to know, you know that I'm no bodybuilder. I'm quite a slender lad, but I do try to work on my fitness because I know it does affect my singing, and it affects my general capacity throughout to do a whole heap of things. Here we are, coming up to the summit, but of course I wonder whether we're going to be able to see much because the trees may well be in our way. Here we come, up here. Now, can we see much? I don't know. If we come over here, I'm wondering whether we'll be able to see. Can you see through? I don't know that we're going to be able to. Can you see right through there? It's kind of hard to make out, isn't it? That's the city. That's Brisbane City through there. If we come around here, no, I'm not having a lot of luck. So Brisbane City is about 15 kilometres, 10 kilometres as the crow flies from where we are right now. Now, if I come back around, now I live that direction, and the studio is that direction. I saw that comment about the drop bears. Yes, drop bears and beep snakes. Now, that's an Australian paper gamer. You must be an Aussie, because only Aussies would know about drop bears. You might all want to Google what a drop bear is. They're very real, of course, and we do have to be very careful in Australia of drop bears and also beep snakes. So you might all have a bit of a laugh when you go and have a look at what that is. Okay, Working for Australia. It's midnight here still. You're working for Australia. Now what's going on there? I'm working for Australia. Ravikaran. And it should woke up. Oh, okay, maybe you should be working. So we're heading back down. I'm going to do the full circuit with you. So keep your questions coming. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you're really enjoying the walk through Australian bush. And it's, you know, it really is a very pleasurable thing to do. Exercise doesn't need to be, you know, cooped up in a gym somewhere looking at a screen. It can actually be as simple as going out to your local park and maybe doing a few laps, or just going for a nice evening walk, safely of course. And here in Australia I get to use this. There's a few other places that I do my exercise, and so maybe in the future I'll take you on some of the other walkways. This one's a little bit more secluded, and so what we might do is take you up to Whites Hill. Let's get this going. We might go up. Actually, do you know what? I've never been up to Whites Hill Summit. I've always just turned the other direction. So shall we do this together? I think we shall. This will be a first for me. It'll be a first for you. I've lived here 16 years and I've never turned up this way. I've always gone the other direction. So we are all having a first together. Keep those questions coming, of course. Do you sing outdoors much? Linda is asking. Either gig or just leisure, like in the bush. I've done a number of corporate gigs, Linda, in the bush, and I've got to tell you, it's not, whilst for the audience I know it's actually always a very special thing to observe singers performing in the bush. That's not always the case for the singer themselves. Often, oh, here we go. What have we got here? This is an Australian magpie. If we go slow enough, hey buddy, off he goes. I'll see if I can find some other wildlife as we go along. Magpies are pretty much a dime a dozen. So what with singing outdoors, what tends to happen is when your singing leaves your lips, the sound just goes, and because there's nothing for it to reflect off and come back at you from, certainly nothing close, it tempts the singer themselves into working harder because you don't get the same resonance. The exact opposite happens when you are singing in the bath. In the shower, in the bath as well. But the reason why we feel so good when we sing in the shower is simply because the sound is reflecting so immediately off the shower walls that we get immediate response, and it sounds resonant and it sounds full. And everyone really does fall into the trap of believing that they sound fantastic. And that's why we hear our neighbours just going for it in the shower. Certainly, my neighbours hear my son going for it, singing at the top of his lungs in the shower. So, whereas in the open air gigs, you just don't get that level of response. And so it can be a really challenging thing from a vocal health standpoint to sing well when you're out in the open. So I know the audience is enjoying it because it's picturesque, but for the singer, it really can be quite difficult. Let's come up here. In fact, I remember one particular gig I was doing, and you know, the one song I've sung more than any other, well, the two songs I've sung more than any other, I've done nearly 20 years of training. Let's just see where we're up to. There we go. So which way shall we go? We don't want to go to the common car park. We shall go to Whites Hill Summit, I think. Hit the thumbs up if you think we're going to turn right. Here we go. So, one gig that I did many moons ago. Oh, why have I not been up here before? I've just spotted an awesome lookout. I think we're going to get a really good vantage point from up here. This is awesome, so stick around. So one gig I did, the two songs that I've sung most in my career, even with 20 years of conservatory training, are Advance Australia Fair, the national anthem, and Waltzing Matilda. Morning. And for those of you who don't know, Waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And so anyway, this particular gig was at a place called Currumbin Bird Sanctuary. It was an international corporate gig. It wasn't, that was a different one, singing Waltzing Matilda. Now this particular one, I actually had to come out of the dark and walk into this sort of picturesque, in the middle of nowhere bushland, and I freaked half of the audience out because, you know, maybe they'd heard about drop bears, and suddenly there's this guy walking out of bushland singing Waltzing Matilda, dressed up like an old swag. Oh dear, funny times. Okay, so here we go, coming up here, and this, as I said, I have never been up here before. This is a first for me, so thank you for causing me to take a road less travelled, and I'm hoping that we're going to get quite a good view from up here. But now that we're up here, let's see. Coming through. Don't forget to put your questions down. We're talking about fitness today as we walk along through Australian bushland, and I'm really hoping that you're enjoying the walk. For me, it's work. You can hear me puffing and working on my fitness, because I really do want to make sure that I'm able to keep up with the pace that life sets. So coming up here, okay, up and up and up. Now let's see if I can give you you can see the Brisbane skyline. I'll see if I can, so that's the city through there. For those of you who don't know Brisbane, we're quite the metropolis now. You know, we're certainly not a small city, about 2 million people, I think, from memory. We're no New York, but we still don't have 24-hour shopping, but we're quite large, and that's the CBD straight through there. And yeah, so there we go. I was hoping I'd be able to give you a better view of the city. And oh, you can hear that bird. You should have sung. The bird would have bounced on top of your head like yeah, I don't know whether you've noticed that that I'm no Disney princess, and so birds don't generally flock to me when I'm singing, as much as, you know, my ego might like to think that my voice has that level of attraction. It's certainly not the case, and I've never experienced. Well, I have actually had birds flock to me. That place I was referring to before, which is called Currumbin Bird Sanctuary, they actually have a time in the afternoon where we have lorikeets, and but they're flocking to everyone because everyone's holding food. So I don't think I can claim any personal responsibility for birds flocking to me, because everyone was doing it. and everyone does it every afternoon at around about 3 o'clock when they feed the birds. So there you go. Okay, so there's the summit, and that was cool. I'm glad we came up here. Hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the walk. Now let's talk fitness again for singing, which is what we're doing. We're going to be here probably, it's going to take me another 10-15 minutes to walk back and complete the circuit. So we've got another few minutes together, and I really want to answer your questions, remembering that these are all about live Q&A. They're about you being able to ask your questions. If this is the very first time you've joined me for one of these live Q&As, my name is Dr. Dan, and I'm a contemporary singing voice specialist, and I spend my life, and have for the last 20 years plus, teaching people to sing and working with people that have to remediate or rehabilitate their voice. And so I have a little bit of knowledge that I can share with you even now about learning to sing and how to care for your voice. And today specifically we're talking mostly about the fitness of the singer, and you know, making sure that we are physically fit. Gone are the days when we only when you know the fat lady sings and that's a good thing. We talked earlier about the fact that it's not actually about weight. It's about fitness first, and then weight follows. Because there are people that are naturally, you know, genetically predisposed, I think I got there, predisposed to being bigger. And so it really is about fitness more than it is about weight. And as we said before, when you deal with the fitness, generally the weight follows. And hey, and make sure you leave in the comments section if you've got a comment to make about fitness for singing. You know, I often say here at Voice Essentials that people, I learn so much from your comments and questions, and I don't have all the answers, and occasionally questions are asked here on the channel that I have to go and research because I'm not able to bring the answer to mind. And so I'm really thankful for that, because it causes me to do further study. And for those of you who don't know me yet, I am a vocal nerd. I love learning and as much as I can about the human voice. So Jose Roberto, Dr. Dan, or any of you guys, let me come back, go. What recorder is the best for record yourself as an amateur singer? Jose, I've actually got a good video about this. You can jump over to the channel and have a look. And the channel is about the video is about, it's called 3 Microphones Compared or something. And in fact, Linda, who may still be with us, just recently watched it, and we talked about the effect that the type of recording has on the impression of your own voice. So, for example, if I was to use my phone, this phone here is a Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge that I'm using to record today's stream. The quality of the microphone inside the componentry is probably only worth, just the microphone itself is probably only worth 20 or 30 cents. It's probably not, this may not even be worth that. And then when you go across to thinking about one of the microphones at the other end of the spectrum, one of the microphones I used when I recorded my album back in 2006, it was worth $20,000. So is it no wonder that the quality of recording, not to mention then the pathway that recording then travels down, so it goes into a $20,000 mic, it goes through millions of dollars worth of componentry and compression and limiters and all this sort of stuff that, you know, really high quality studios have. And that's what then, after it's passed all the way through that $1 million line, then we get to hear the end result of my voice. Compare that to a 20-cent mic in your phone that is then reproducing it through probably a 30-cent speaker, is it any wonder that your voice may not sound as great as you'd like to? Now, the end result of that is we fall into the trap, and we're just coming up to a turn here, so I'll show you where we are. Coming up here. So we came down earlier, we came down there, and we went up there, and now we're going to come down here. And so we're doing the full circuit. I'm not exactly sure how long the full circuit is, but so far we've been streaming for about 30 minutes, and I hope you're enjoying it. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're getting something out of these live streams, and make sure you let people know that we do these live Q&As. This is completely different to the normal Q&A. I usually do them from my studio, but here we are out in the Australian bush, only 5 minutes walk from my studio, and very fortunate to live in this part of the world. So back to the mics. So when you then hear your voice played back through the 20-cent mic of your phone, through the 30-cent speaker system of your phone, is it any wonder that we can find ourselves being discouraged because it doesn't sound like we would like it to sound? Maybe we're singing a Beyonce piece or an Ed Sheeran piece, and we've heard them on our CD player or through our MP. No one has CDs anymore, Daniel. MP3, and we go, this just doesn't sound any good. Why when I sing it doesn't sound? The reason being is because you've removed millions of dollars worth of processing between your voice and the speaker, and that's why it doesn't sound any good. It's got nothing to do with you personally, and guaranteed that this is no stretch. I could take any one of you, regardless of what level you feel you are as a vocalist, and we could, if we had an unlimited budget, we could take you and take you up and into a professional studio, and if we had the time and if we had the right engineer, we could make all of you sound like Rihanna. We could make all of you sound like Ed Sheeran. To an extent, of course. You'll always be you and they'll always be them. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is, yes, there are skills to be learnt, and yes, there is a certain type of styling. Oh, let me just show you over here. This is actually, now I mentioned before that I play touch football every week, but these are some local touch football fields. Now, I don't actually play on these fields. Once upon a time, about over a decade ago, I used to. But these are some local touch fields and a local park, which is just gorgeous. And I hope that the level of colour is coming through for you on the screen, because on my screen it looks absolutely picturesque. And so what we've got over here, so this is just some local parkland, and that hill over there is called Mount Gravatt, and this is Whites Hill Reserve playing fields. I won't walk us any further because up over there is kids' playground, and I don't want to be seen to be creepy. Where were we talking about? Yeah, so it's a matter of, there are certain things that we can't replicate, style, and developing that unique stylistic approach to our singing. But nonetheless, we do want to make sure that when we're listening back to the recordings on our phone, that we're contextualizing it, and that we're making sure that we are placing millions of dollars worth of grace to what we're hearing. It's not you, it's the mic. And and that's important. So listening back to yourself via your own recordings can be a really positive thing to do. And because you can get to hear the way you're phrasing and the way you're doing certain things. But it's certainly not something that you want to go placing too heavy a judgment over the quality of your sound. So I hope that's helpful. Make sure you continue to ask your questions. Now for a 10... No, Linda, I don't think I'll be taking doing 10 laps. I had noticed that my heart rate had settled down once we got off the hill, which is a good thing. But certainly we will not be going for 10 laps, Linda, I'm afraid. We will have to content ourselves with just hearing me pant as we walk along. And if you've just joined us, we're talking about fitness and the fitness and the way it affects our singing. And of course, aerobic fitness affects our breathing. And if you're gigging, if you're really, dancing a lot on stage, etc., then your aerobic fitness is going to get to a point where, you need your fitness to be to a point where your breathing is far more managed. If, for example, for those of you who heard the beginning of the post, if I was trying to sing while I was walking up that hill earlier, then that would be a real problem because my diaphragmatic motion would have been heightened, and therefore managing the way my body is, acting throughout. And as I'm singing, then I'm going to have a lot more trouble managing my notes. So always remember that breath fuels the voice. And so if my breath is inconsistent, then my notes will be inconsistent. And so it's something to remember. Let's go back to some questions. We're about 5 or 10 minutes away from getting to the end of our walk. Hi Tuss, yeah, you can. We won't go into reflux today, but there is a video, a very detailed video about reflux on my channel, and one of the more recent ones actually. Just go looking for the effects of acid reflux on the channel, and there's actually a couple of videos on the channel about reflux, but more specifically you'll find a very recent one in the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've talked very, very specifically about reflux, and you can jump over there. And for those of you who have never joined me before, make sure you hit the subscribe button and join our ever-growing community of singers from across the globe who, just like you, want to raise their voice in song. We love having new people join our community. We are a very encouraging group here at Voice Essentials, aren't we, everyone? And we love having new people join us and encouraging people. Now, let me show you. Now, I wasn't going to walk to the top of that hill. That being said, it is an impressive viewpoint, and what I want you to do, tell me in the comments section very quickly whether you want me to go up there. We can go up there if you want. Make sure you just quickly comment. I know the comments take a few moments to come through. So if you want me to go up to the very top there, go for it. Linda, how did I know you were going to be the first person to comment and say you wanted me to climb the hill? I can tell you on the screen, raise those. Here we go. Go on. Okay. Now, it doesn't look as steep as it actually is on the screen, I assure you. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button and you're one of the people that said I should climb this hill, then you have to hit the thumbs up button, because this is going to be quite the climb. You'll regret it if you don't. Linda, I think you and I both know that I'll regret it because I did. So here we go. This is good for my fitness. A thumbs up. Well, I got one thumbs up. Is that from you, Kathy? Nice to have you join us from my own old hometown of Toowoomba. So climbing. Can I just, let's see if I can, I'm taking this right out. So this is, I'm having to climb. I don't know if you can, hopefully that gives you a better idea of just how steep this is. And coming up, I'm trying to be careful not to, Now, here we go. So, let me bring you back in. A round of applause, please. Okay, so I'll give you a look at the view. It's actually hard to see the view from here. We're actually up the back end of a massive quarry here, and just over that mound of dirt is a massive quarry, and you can see on side of the quarry just over there. So there you go. You all owe me one for climbing that hill. And there's Mount Gravatt over there again. Okay. So back down. So you can hear, even as I'm had to climb that hill for you all, insert clap emoji. Thank you, mate, I appreciate it. It really did cost me something. So as you can even hear in my breathing, you know, we often see ones like Beyonce and very good. Yes. Well, I couldn't carry everything, Linda. Hydration. I actually took a big glass of water, knowing that I wouldn't be able to. Normally I would carry a water bottle. And so let me show you, this is what we came up before. And again, it doesn't look very steep, does it? But I assure you. So because I knew I wouldn't be taking a hydration bottle with me, I decided, I've got to be very careful going down here, otherwise you're all going to enjoy seeing me end up on my tushki bar. So when we see the Beyoncés of this world and the Rihannas and the Justin Timberlakes dancing all over the place and for their shows, it is important to know that whilst their mics are live, which is why we do get to hear a bit of their panting at the end of their phrases and those sorts of things, they are singing to a click track which almost certainly has their own vocals. So they've done the pre-record. It's not as if I'm suggesting that they're not singing, but they've actually, it's very difficult for the human body at any level of fitness to sing well, not just for one gig, but for a tour, which might go for 2 years. It's very difficult for a voice to sustain that level of aerobic activity when, despite, and their fitness would be better than mine, but it is important to remember that there's a bit of smoke and mirrors going on. It's not purely their voice live. And that's an important thing to remember. So let me bring you back in. So we are going to go down here after that little detour, thanks to Linda and Kev Tran and Kathy. So we're just going on our home stretch now. We're only going to be live for another 4 or 5 minutes, so please stick with us until the very end. Let us know in the comments below if you've been with me since I very first started the post. So this is all a bit of a downhill stretch here, and we're heading down. Good morning. It is. See, I told you, everyone, it is uphill. It's not easy. And I do want it noted, I usually jog this whole circuit. And it's taken us 45 minutes. By the time we finish today's post, it'll have been about 50 minutes. It usually takes me about 15 minutes, 16 minutes to run. So I would like that noted, Your Honour, that normally I can go around this a little bit quicker than we've gone today. So hit me with some more questions. We've got a couple of minutes just to answer a few final questions about anything to do with our singing, but mostly to do with vocal health and your general physical fitness. Make sure you ask your questions. Bartek, we're going to kill you. Well, so far I'm okay, Bartek. Thank you for your concern. I will remember to do a Mr. Burning Hamster. Nice to hear from you again. I won't forget to do a cool down, and that is an important thing to remember. What's the temp there? Exercise heat is not fun. The temp here is around about, in fact I can tell you, the temperature here is about, look, it's about, hang on a second, I can tell you, right now it's about 22 degrees, so it's actually not, it's quite pleasant, to be honest. It's quite pleasant, and it's been a lovely walk. I hope you have all enjoyed seeing the Australian bush and coming for a walk with me. As I said earlier, this is a very unusual post. We normally are in the studio talking, singing, and using technology in that way. But today, the beauty of what we're doing here is technology allows us to now get out and about and enjoy the surroundings. And I think you would agree that as an Aussie, I'm very fortunate to have been born in Australia and to be able to live so close to this neck of the woods and coming around here. This is actually a beautiful little spot, isn't it? And if you've enjoyed today's post and you haven't already hit the thumbs up button, be sure to do that and let us know how much you're enjoying the post. And I would love for you, here's one more question from Bartek. Why do my recordings sound much better when played loud? It may well be, Bartek, that the volume that you're playing them at is actually, and I don't know the full technical name for this. We'd need to talk to an engineer, but I know enough to know that almost certainly what's happening is the level is getting to a point where it's kind of filling out all of the spaces. So for example, here's a way to describe it. I don't know if you've ever noticed that if you get back in the day, or even back in the day of if you think about I'm trying to get the right example for you, Bartek. If you get up really close to a really big poster, even one of those side of the freeway posters, when you get up really close, you find that it's actually a whole heap of collections of little different colours and little spots. And so it's not just one clean picture like we would normally expect it to see when we see it from a distance. It's actually all of these little dots. But the further you get away from it, they all blend in together and we get this really clean picture. It's not dissimilar to that in the sense that when you turn your volume right down, your ear is able to hear all of the nuance, all of those little finicky problems and imperfections But the moment you turn it up loud, your ear is not able to define, and so it's like getting further away from the picture. Your ear is not able to define those imperfections as easily. Maybe, and now I'm just hypothesizing, maybe that's why, you know, some bands do play loud, because it just covers a multitude of sins. I don't know. But ultimately that would be the reason, Bartek. And in fact, and this is a really important point to make, when you sing, it is actually harder to sing quietly and to sing with finesse, much harder than it is to sing loud and high and full, full tilt, which is why on our TV talent shows that seem to just populate the screens of our TVs, it's why they, we hear all these amateur singers singing really loud and flat out, because many of them simply have not developed the skills. Oh, here, this is pretty. Look at that. Sorry, just caught my eye as we were nearly coming to the end of our little journey together. And down into there as well. That's pretty. Stopping to smell the roses. So, so when we hear these young singers, these amateur singers singing at the top of their lungs, flat out, the reason that's all they actually know how to do, many of them, and they haven't learnt to sing quietly. They haven't learnt to create finesse. And of course, as we come to the end of our journey, that's what I'm trying to empower us all to do here, is to develop finesse into our singing. Today we've talked about fitness. Tomorrow, the live, the video that will go live tomorrow at 5 a.m. is about, well, isn't this a nice little segue, is about asthma. And as you can hear, I don't have asthma. I might lack a little bit in fitness, but I certainly don't I don't have asthma. But tomorrow we're going to talk about, for those of you who suffer from asthma, it's going to be hopefully a really educational video, and so make sure you check that out. And if this is the first time you've ever joined us, we would love for you to join our ever-growing community of like-minded singers from across the globe. And we're an encouraging group. We love singing. We talk singing on this channel every week, at least twice a week. This will with this post, we'll have had 3 new videos this week, which has been a lot of fun. So hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell icon, because it's the bell icon that notifies you when I go live. And there's no other way to find out that I'm live other than to have YouTube's notification system tell you, because you've hit the bell icon. And so we'd love for you to do that. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button as well, because that just lets me know that you're enjoying the overall process. And here we go. We are coming back to the edge. This is where we started. And this will be a nice way to finish it all up. And there you go. That's where I started, right there. So that took us about 55 minutes. I thought it take us a little bit shorter, but in my defense, we did take a few little detours. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've got a lot out of our discussion, because I think we covered some really good ground physically and intellectually today. But until I see you in the next Voice Essentials video, I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.